The Switch 2 hacking scene gets even darker. A real-life Super Smash Bros. Is happening between Nintendo and Palworld, and a new player has entered the arena and caused Nintendo to be on the back foot. The scary part is, if Nintendo wins this lawsuit, it could potentially mean the end of emulation, hacking, and modding as we know it in the gaming industry. We'll speak about what it means for you as a Switch 2 owner. We'll speak about it in this video. Welcome to System Decoded. If you're new here, my name is Naseem. My background is in computer science with data science, and recently I've transitioned into the cybersecurity realm. What we do on this channel is we take complex systems and break them down into a simple format. I provide the framework and deep insight for you to understand. Just a disclaimer, on this channel, I do not promote any forms of piracy. This content is made for educational and speculation purposes only, so viewer discretion is advised. So we'll break this video down into 3 distinct parts. In part number 1, we'll discuss the Nintendo Palworld lawsuit, and we'll discuss what Digimon did to put Nintendo on the back foot. And then in part number 2, we'll discuss the 5 consumer rights that every game console owner needs to know about and how they are being violated by Nintendo in real time as we speak. And then finally, in part number 3, we'll speak about future implications, what this means for the gaming landscape as a whole. So let's get into the video. So firstly, let's discuss this conflict between Nintendo and Palworld and what the huge controversial issue is. To begin with, you need to actually understand what Palworld even is. What Palworld is a game developed by an indie developer. The whole premise of the game is that you go through the game and you capture what's known as pals with a ball, and then you take that pal and you go and level up, you do battles, so on and so forth. And that's all you need to know, because that's already where Nintendo had an issue. And keep in mind, for the Nintendo lovers or haters, that this is not speculation. This is literally stated on their website that first there was a warning issued, and then secondly, there is literally a lawsuit filed against the owner of Palworld because they are claiming that this one mechanic utilized in this game is violating their intellectual property. This is where the plot thickens, because Digimon, you can argue, is a competitor of Pokemon. Perfect Timing releases a trailer called Digimon Story Time Stranger, and what they showcase a brand new mechanic where a character now fly a creature from the ground into the air. And the reason why this has caused so much commotion is because this is one of the patents that Nintendo claims to own. And in summary, Nintendo is claiming that they own 2 mechanics. One is that you cannot capture any creature with a ball, and secondly, you cannot fly a creature from the ground to the sky. So the lingering question is, if Nintendo cared so much about its intellectual property, why haven't they bullied Bandai Namco, the parent company of Digimon? And this is where the argument begins. So the counter argument for Nintendo is that firstly, we don't actually know, or we can't confirm, that there is a lawsuit coming after Bandai Namco, i.e. Digimon. Secondly, Nintendo as a large organization isn't obligated to file a lawsuit against everyone. My speculation is that the reason why they've gone after Palworld, is fully speculation, is that Palworld was being called a Pokemon killer. It was directly taking consumers from Pokemon away from Pokemon into Palworld. This is where the Digimon trailer comes in. It's Digimon's way of saying that, look, we're going to implement this mechanic on purpose in this trailer. Therefore, if you sue them, we will go toe-to-toe with you or win via a public opinion. However, if you don't sue us, and this is where Nintendo loses either way, if you don't sue us, then it's a public statement saying towards everyone saying, look, this is a targeted attack because we are big and we've purposely violated one of Nintendo's mechanics. He's saying, go on, you bullied a small guy, now come after us. But wait, you haven't filed a claim against us? Then it's clear evidence that you're picking on the small guy. In conclusion, for this part is such a powerful move from Digimon, because they win in 3 different ways. 1, they help the everyday average consumer of games. They help the hacking scene, and they also put Nintendo on the back foot. And finally, just to add a cherry on top, it's a brilliant marketing play from Digimon. I've never played a Digimon game in my life, but my God, am I motivated to play one now. Right, so I'm going to quickly speak about these 5 consumer laws, and it's very simple, so I'll just make it really, really quick. Number 1 is the right to safety. Now, what this usually means in the context of consumer rights, that a device is actually safe. In this context, this means safety from corporate bullying. If Nintendo owns every single mechanic in a game, then there's no more innovation, there's no more room to grow for developers and indie developers. So, and this is known as corporate bullying. So the second one is the right to info. Means is you've got to have clarity in your policies. And Nintendo has purposely been vague with its policies. It's using abstract language in the legal documents. For example, oh, it could mean, Palworld might have used this. And by being vague, they have the legal grounds to basically do whatever they want. Holding information in general, because what happens, consumers get hit blindsided. So, for example, genres can just disappear. Your Switch 2 could just get banned, so on and so forth. Right, number 3 all has to do with monopoly. No practical example. When Apple nearly went bankrupt, it was a known fact that Microsoft literally had to bail them out. They literally had to loan them the money for Apple to survive. Why? Because it's a legal requirement that you can't just be the only one in the market that has to be competitive. You can't have all the market share. Why? Because this creates equality. And by Nintendo trying to own all these random mechanics that are very vague, then it removes the freedom of choice. Imagine just going onto Steam and typing in like monster game, and the only one that comes up is Pokemon. Why your right to monopoly is such a big thing. Right, finally, the right to be heard. Thankfully, we live in a time where people are speaking up. Freedom of speech is definitely getting attacked these days. We live in a time where people are actually speaking out now, which is actually such a phenomenal thing. For Digimon to actually do what they did, they're fighting not just for freedom to choose a game and things like that, actually giving Palworld a voice by all of us influencers coming together collectively and speaking about it. It really gives small organizations a voice. And this is where your right to have a voice, right for freedom of speech, is a huge consumer right. Right, so let's get into the future implications of what this all means for the gaming landscape. Now, first things first, I really want to clarify that I have no bias towards Nintendo. If anything, I actually want Nintendo to succeed, and I'll basically show you how much of a Nintendo fanboy. Here's me actually playing Zelda. I'm actually on the final boss because I absolutely love my Switch 2. So understand, like, I really want Nintendo to succeed, but Nintendo has been on some crazy downward spiral ever since the Switch 2 came out. From the spike in price of the Switch 2 to game key cards to $80 to $100 games, banning and bricking Switch 2s. And this is the most sinister though. Taking away basic consumer rights, it violates the 5th consumer right, which I will end the video with, which is your right to redress. What the right to redress means is fighting for your rights. Fighting against what's wrong is a right itself. And right now, unfortunately, Nintendo is going the patents that are basic mechanics in games. And the issue is, if Nintendo does that, then where does that leave space for other developers to grow? The scary thing about rights though is this, be the punchline of the video. Once your rights are gone, that's it. Once Nintendo or any large organizations take your rights away, you have to go through years of legal work and protest just to get that right back. So it's more important now more than ever for Nintendo influencers to speak out, because if those influencers don't speak out and fight for the rights of everyday average consumers of games, once those rights are being taken away, it's finished. And that's the punchline of the video. That's it for today. This has been Nassim from System Decoded. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah, that's it for today. Until next time, I will speak to you soon. Take care and have a beautiful, blessed day.